Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of The Mindful Mic, a podcast from Children's Home Counseling Services that explores the many factors that shape our mental health and connects listeners to the community resources working to make a difference. I'm your host, Colby Twist.
And I'm your other host, Grace Shimatsu. The Children's Home is a nonprofit organization in Boise, Idaho that provides counseling and other mental health services to children and their families, regardless of insurance status or ability to pay.
In today's episode, we sit down with Alison, Evaro, the Executive Director of Girls on the Run, Treasure Valley.
In our conversation, we talk about the mission of Girls on the Run and how their programs help young girls build confidence, self-worth, and meaningful connections with others.
As you'll hear, Girls on the Run is about so much more than running. It's about creating a safe, supportive space for girls to grow, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too.
All right, let's chat.
Hello, Alison. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. We're so excited to have you here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Let's just start off first. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role that you play at Girls on the Run.
Yeah, so I am a mom of 2 daughters and have been in the Valley for about 25 years. And I'm a runner myself, and I'm the executive director at Girls on the Run, Treasure Valley.
Amazing. I love that. How did you first get involved with Girls on the Run?
You know, it was through my other role at the YMCA where I worked in races and events, and we helped Girls on the Run organize their 5K that they do at the end of the season. And I worked with their executive director to bring those girls from all over the Treasure Valley to that particular race. And it was just a way for them to cut some cost and be a part of another event. And so I got to know those executive directors, and there just was an opportunity when one was stepping away, and just felt like a good fit to go in that direction, as I really love working in a nonprofit. I had been doing events and programming with youth and running, and so it just was a great fit.
Yeah, so we know from the name, Girls on the Run, it's about running. Could you tell us a little bit more about what else it is? What do you do? What's it all about?
Yeah, so Girls on the Run is more than just a running program. It really is. We have a 8-week program that we offer to girls in 3rd through 8th grade, and they practice twice a week. And it is really about bringing joy, healthy, confident, life essential skills to these girls, so that they can be strong, confident women later in life. So we kind of fill up their toolbox, give them all these essential life skills, such as managing conflict, how to be a good friend, how to make intentional, good decisions, and incorporate physical activity into it in this 8-week program. And then we end with a 5K, and we bring all the girls that have participated from around the Treasure Valley to the 5K to be there together.
Wonderful. I love that. And you have a lot of programs, excuse me. Before we get into kind of more of the programs that you do serve for the third grade to 8th grade?
Yes.
And why is that like kind of the sweet spot of?
Well, do you remember being like a 5th grader?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I was going to say unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I do too. And I remember being bullied. And I didn't see it as being bullied then, but I was the tallest girl in the class. And the boys would make fun of me because I was taller than them. And they had a nickname for me. And still to this day, when I hear that nickname, it just drives me crazy. And that was just something small. But in society today, girls and all kids have devices, social media, and society has just changed as a whole. And so that age range, they have so many pressures and so many different stressors that we had than we had. And so at age 9 right now, girls start to lose confidence. By age 10, physical activity starts to drop. And then girls between 10 and 13, 50% of them report bullying in some form of name calling, isolation. And so obviously there's something there where we can step in and be a game changer and change those stats and give them these tools so that they can continue to grow that self-confidence and that belief in themselves. So that's really why we have that age group.
I would say I remember it being such a hard age, back in the 80s.
Yeah.
But without social media, I can't imagine nowadays. And I just remember it's so hard. 5th, 6th, I'm seeing this with my son now too. It's, dare I say, puberty is coming into play, and it's coming into play for different kids at different times.
Yes.
And so you're saying you're tall or you're small and you haven't grown yet.
Yeah.
And it just gives so much access for other kids to make fun of what they don't understand, or maybe that they are going through too, but it's easier to focus on somebody else. It's such a tough age.
It is. And in schools right now, they barely have enough time to teach education tools, let alone those social emotional tools. So outside is where they need to find those. And so helping those kids understand, how to reframe that in their mind, how to stand up for themselves, how to stand up for others is coming from elsewhere. And so that's really where we want to be, and kids need that. So it's just important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would imagine too, just that sense of community that they have when they're all in this program together. I feel like, especially at that age, and especially now with social media and the social isolation and loneliness aspect, it has to be really special to have that group of girls together.
Definitely this age group, and then also coming out of COVID, and I know we're years outside. However, these kids are trying to figure out how to be friends again, and being a friend as a third grader with a fifth grader, seeing that mentor in the hallway smile at you because you're in Girls on the Run together just makes that little third grader like, oh, I have someone. They believe in me and they are going to be friendly to me and maybe speak up for me. So it does build that community within the school with those peers, but also the volunteer coaches that we have. It's another adult that is being a mentor, where it's not just a parent or a teacher, it's an outside person. Maybe it's a BSU student or just a community parent or member or another parent, to believe in that child and give them that security. So it makes a big difference in connection.
You make such a great point too about having a mentor in an older grade. I think about those like transition ages, right, between like 6th and 7th grade going into junior high or high school. Like those are relationships that could last them throughout those transitions, and having someone there that could make a big difference. I love that.
Yeah. And I do think, you said we've been years out, from COVID, but a lot of damage had been done.
Yeah.
And so, you look at those kids that were in kindergarten, first grade, preschool, during COVID, they're now in this age group that you're talking about. And so they really didn't have kids to learn how to interact with.
Yeah.
They missed that really important time.
Yes.
So now I think that it's great that you have these programs that kind of might help them along that they missed out during COVID. It was such an important time.
Yeah.
So you have, these programs and this mission. What's an example? Like, how do you... First of all, I'd say, how do you mentor? How does somebody come in as a volunteer, right, that comes in and mentor? How do you mentor these kids?
So a lot of times, so our program is in the fall and the spring. We follow the school system. So, and typically it's an 8-week program, and we're at the schools throughout the Treasure Valley, and people will sign up. And so you go through, you register yourself, and then we put you through an online training. That's a national coach training program through Girls on the Run. And then you do a 4-hour training in person. And you don't have to be a runner. You just have to be passionate about, being a mentor and trying to help girls learn these life skills and want to learn yourself. So they go through our training, and then they are there twice a week for these girls for those whole 8 weeks. And then they run the 5K with them at the end. And, we say run, we mean
walk, okay?
Yeah, we mean movement. Some girls, I coached last season, and one girl did not run the entire time. She walked every lap, and she ran the whole 5K. So you get what you get, and it's not pressure. We tell them, to find their happy pace. They can do it however they want, and as long as they're going to finish and meet their goal, that's all we ask. So, and anyone can register to be a coach. Certain locations have coaches that are already there, or, we always need subs that will come in because dentist appointments come up, people get sick, and then we have to have a certain number of coaches at each site. So, and educators, we rely heavily on them to partner with us, but that's asking them to stay after school and be there. It brings a different relationship to the team when it's an educator, because they get to be a coach instead of a teacher with the girls. So they really enjoy it. And so that's kind of nice. And it helps with that, navigating the school area. But usually we have community members, BSU students, grandparents, all kinds of things, dads, uncles. So, men or women can be coaches. It doesn't have to be a woman.
Yeah. So what are You mentioned earlier teaching how to stand up for yourself, stand up for others, build that self-confidence. What are some examples of what that looks like in practice and how you relay that to them?
So the practices are about 75 to 90 minutes. And so every practice has a lesson. And they build off of each other. And so we have 3 different sets of curriculum. One of them is Hello Superstar, Hello Mountain Mover, and then Hello Bold Heart. And in Superstar, that's the one that we just taught last season. There's a lesson called Feel Your Feelings. And so you talk about those feelings. Is it a feeling or an emotion isn't labeled as good or bad. It's labeled as comfortable or uncomfortable. And so the kids talk about it. So you bring up all these like anxiety, you bring up being surprised, you happy, sad. So they're not bad or good. It's comfortable or uncomfortable. And then we put them in situations, into scenarios, and the girls read them. They have to talk to their partner and, say, oh, this is how I would feel. I would be comfortable, with being sad if, someone's leaving, but I know I'm going to see them in 2 weeks, things like that. So very much visualization, practice scenarios, and just talking and having those discussions and dialogue with their peers and with the coach.
I was just going to say, I love the not good or bad. I love the uncomfortable or comfortable.
Yeah.
Because even if it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. And I love putting in that perspective.
Yes. Well, and so many kids they'll be like nervous. Oh, that's uncomfortable. And then someone else will be like, no, but it's good. Like, it's comfortable because I'm excited and I'm nervous. But, it can be seen as uncomfortable depending on the situation. So, and they talk about it. And it's hilarious to listen to them talk and how they put it into their own terms. And that's like the curriculum really is geared to those age groups. So it's very much about your star power, and you can move mountains and do hard things. And like this new one is Bold Heart, and this will be our first season doing it, and it's about speaking up for yourself and speaking up for others. And there's a lot of talk about that you shouldn't be afraid to say what's on your mind and be respectful about it. And it talks about that and knowing when to talk and not to, just blur it out and be respectful of your friend that's talking, but also to speak up for others and make sure that you're, standing up and being a upstander, not just a bystander. So.
I love that. Upstander, not a bystander. That reminds me of the film series that we did a couple years ago. And we did one with Girls on the Run.
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was social media maybe, or...
It was...
Was it the Upstanders? Upstanders, maybe?
I think so. I can't even remember, because we saw all 3. So
Yeah, actually, you know what? I think we did one with all 3. I think you're there for it. And it was it was great. And it's right on... Like, that's why you were such a good partner for us, right? Because it's like you think about just running and stuff, but you fit into the Upstanders, which was about bullying and the social media part of it, and anxiety, angst. It might have even been the angst.
It might have been angst.
Yeah, and angst. So that it fits so much into your curriculum and everything that you're working on with those kids.
Yeah, and they're just experiencing these emotions so much earlier and not knowing how to deal with them, and that's how we feel, is to be able to help them with that. So
So you go to these schools. You're in certain schools, but not all schools. You have to attend a school where your program is. Is that correct?
So yes. And you do not have to attend the school. So if you live, right now for fall we have about 40 schools committed. And that means that the school has said yes, that we can be there. And then we have to find volunteers for all 40 schools. So that's the hard part.
If you want to volunteer, this is a perfect opportunity. That sounds like that's the only thing keeping you from really being is just the volunteers.
That is the truth.
And you don't have to run.
You do not have to be a runner. I swear we will not make you run. But so we're at these 40 schools, and some of them are within the Treasure Valley and Boise. We serve Boise, West Ada, Nampa, Caldwell, Cuna, charter schools, private schools. So if the school has approved it, then we come to your school. But if you are at Longfellow and we're at Washington Elementary, and we don't have a site at Longfellow, you can come over and join.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So homeschoolers can join. If you're that doesn't matter. Anyone is included. Everyone is welcome. So you can figure that out. And because sometimes like between Pierce Park, Collister, and Cynthia Mann, where they're like less than a mile apart from each other. And so we'll have it at Cynthia Mann. So anyone from that area can come. So it's just right after school. And that's the other thing. It's right after school. Kids can walk out and be there. Then their parents can come get them afterwards. Some of the community schools have after-school programming, and so we try to align with that so that the kids can hop on the after-school bus and go home right afterwards, because transportation can be a barrier for some of our families. So, and the other thing that I'll mention is that it is for girls in 3rd through 5th grade is Girls on the Run, and then Heart and Soul is our program for 6th through 8th graders. And it's a 1-day-a-week program. It's for 10 weeks. It is our toughest program to get girls enrolled.
Why do you think that is?
They are busy with other extracurricular activities. They also don't want to start talking about their emotions again. New in the school environment. They're in either junior high or middle school. They have track at school. So it's a hard age to get. And I think if it wasn't maybe at a school, so if we did a community location, it might be better. But you know, when you tell your kids they're going to do this and they're like, no, I don't want to go. You only hear that so many times and you're like, fine, I'm done. Yeah. So that is our hardest group to get. So we try to get those 3 years leading up to it.
Do you see that a lot, that the parents are the ones pushing it more than the kids are expressing their own interest in it?
Yes. So we will have coaches and a site, but we can't get the girls. So, and that's national. It's not just here in the Treasure Valley. It's a Girls on the Run, problem or focus for us to figure out how to get these girls to get engaged in that. So we're working on that.
I think that's actually a very common problem to have with youth programs. I think we find the same thing here. Getting those youngsters in, it is a lot easier. And then once they start kind of have a little bit more freedom, then it's definitely hard. So it is, I think it is a youth program issue.
It's just that age, and it's their independence, and so we're hoping to get as much of those tools in their toolbox before they hit that age.
What about them? So do you have a lot of times when they start in 3rd grade and then they carry on, and then if you get them young, maybe they'll keep going because they love the program into that age group?
I believe we do have a lot of repeaters, so we'll have a lot of kids that will do the full program. And once they get to that, they ask for it. But then when you get to that new school, it's really hard. There's just so many different things going on. I think it really depends on the middle school or junior high and how passionate they are about having it, and us learning how to offer it in different ways. Like if we could have it at lunch so it's not after school, like we've tried that, but getting community members to help, and the length of the session or the lesson is a little bit longer. So there's all those things, but it's something to work on.
What would you say then if you had, let's say they're listening right now, that age group, and they want to know like the benefits for them to go after school. So what would you say to that poor group?
I think it's just going to help them build on the skills that they already have and learn how to hone those tools on how to be that better person for yourself. And it's really about being themselves at that point, right? So understanding yourself more, seeing the connection between that physical activity and those mental health skills or those traits, how it connects and makes you feel good. And at that age when physical activity is starting to decline, that this will help you stay there and keep that mental health better. And that's just something that they should be passionate about, and I hope that they find that.
And non-competitive maybe too, right? Like there's some kids that might like to run, but they don't want to do track. They don't want to compete. They don't want to do all that time, but maybe they just want some kind of physical activity, but they don't want to invest in competition.
Yeah, and it is. Our school system right now, athletics is very competitive, and it's hard on these kids, and it shouldn't be, but it is. And so having this space where they can be running and do that and not have it be timed and not care about how many laps you did. You don't have to write down, your distance. So that's something that's a safe place for them. And that would be another benefit of doing Girls on the Run.
I think that's such an important life skill to learn too, is just how to have some neutrality with physical activity and exercise. As someone that played competitive sports throughout high school and in college, I think that one of the biggest things when my time was done and I wasn't a student athlete anymore was like I didn't even know how to work out on my own without being in this competitive environment, and I'm still learning that. So I like that you mentioned that. I think it's so important.
Yeah, that's a whole different space as I'm sure
Yes,
you understand.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
You're competitive, and now like you're, after college, or for a lot of people after high school, most kids after high school, not a lot of kids go on to, do college like you did. So after high school, you're like, now what?
Yeah. And even as an adult, like my daughter, my daughter's now running, and she is running faster than me. And I'm like, okay, just remember, you were injured. You'll get back there. You probably won't ever be as fast as her, but you do it because you enjoy it, not to be competitive. And so, like, even as an adult, we have to talk ourselves through those same thoughts every day. So, and that's one thing that these lessons are for our coaches and volunteers. If someone could pay me every time someone said to me, give me $5 for every time a volunteer says, I wish I had this when I was this age, or when I was young, I wish I had Girls on the Run. And it's like, I know, but right now we have it. So in the morning before I would like prep for my lesson, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use this today. Like it just helps you as an adult too. So it's just as important for us as adults to remember. And it's a good reminder for those kids too, that we're not perfect.
So if you want, let's say sorry, I just hit my mic. Ignore that, everybody. So if you do want to join, you're interested, what's the next steps? Are there costs involved, or?
Yeah. So registration for girls will open in July for the fall season. And there are costs involved. The program itself is $165 per girl, and that includes they get a journal, they get some activity sheets and a future letter to themselves and a keepsake, a shirt, and then it includes the 5K for them. And then the other aspect of Girls on the Run is that we don't turn anyone away for their inability to pay. So it may cost $165 at full value. However, we give scholarships, and families can self-select that why they're registering. They don't have to reach out to us. They don't have to provide paperwork. They can say, this is where I am, this is what I can pay, and we'll let them break it into payments if they'd like, and it gets it down as low as $35, and then you can divide that into 2 payments. And then if they need a full scholarship, they can also, that's when they would reach out, and all they have to do is email. And certain schools, we've adjusted the rate depending on if it's a community school or a Title I school, just because we know that the cost is a barrier already. And so we secure, funds to pay for that. So we're writing grants and we're doing fundraisers, and that's what that money goes for, is to pay for those scholarships. Every year, like this past year in 2024, it was about $40,000 in scholarships. This past spring, it was, we already gave out $23,000. So it's a lot, and it is important for people to know that the full value is just the cost that we have people pay. It's not even the full value of what we really spend. So raising those dollars and making sure that we can offer that is super important to us. It's one of our goals, is to not have to turn anyone away.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, incredible. Especially, I like what you said about they can just say that they need some assistance during registration. I think that's a great thing. Just destigmatize it a bit.
Yes. Just everyone needs help, once in a while. And as long as, we don't need to see anything, we just want them to have access. So.
Right. I love that, because sometimes people might be like, I don't want to fill out this paperwork and put my income. And you're going to lose them.
Yes.
And it's just.
Yeah. And it's not about the parents, we want the girls.
You want the girls there.
Yeah.
You have a value for them.
Yeah.
So what kind of fundraising do you do? So people can get involved, or what do you do?
We're always looking for for donors. So this year's our 25th anniversary, and our goal is $25,000 to go directly to scholarships. So we're trying to raise that, and an average scholarship that we give out is $90. So someone will come and apply to be a part of a program, and so that's when we can see what the average cost is. And so if we raise $25,000, that would give about 200 girls that option to have that scholarship. So it's not a lot, and we think we can do it. But we've been here we've served over 1,400 or 14,000 girls since 2000, and looking to serve that many more in the next 25 years and increasing that. And so if people want to get involved, they can help by giving a meaningful gift. Volunteering is the other way. That is just as important. We really could not be here without our volunteers. They're very much the heart of the program. We do all different kinds of events. So we have a kickball tournament that we're going to have, and so they can come out and support a team. We have a race that's going to happen at the Boise Twilight Criterium in July, and it's called the Goater Mile, and you have to be 14 and older, and you come out and you get to run a mile on the course that the cyclists do beforehand. So, there's everyone that's waiting to see those pro cyclists. They're all there to watch you race, and so super fun, and just kind of a fun way to get Girls on the Run name out there. And then always just on our website you can go and give and just support us and tell other people about us so that they can have their neighbors and grandkids and nieces all sign up. So that's what you can do to support Girls on the Run.
We'll make sure too that there's a link so that you guys can always go to the children's home, idaho.org, and then we'll have a link there so they can go and learn more about you and donate.
Yeah.
But I want to hear about, because I remember last year hearing about your kickball tournament.
Yeah.
That's coming up, and it's tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so with this anniversary celebration, we are having our kickball tournament at Hawk Stadium. We had 10 teams, and they come out, and I've never played kickball. I mean, I guess I did
back in the day.
Yeah. There was no teams, there were no costumes, but we do a best dressed team, and there's prizes for the top team, and then there's raffles. And it's just a fun day to come out and celebrate. And then we're incorporating our 25th anniversary. So if you were a Goater girl anywhere in the country or here in the Treasure Valley, if you were a girl, a coach, a caregiver, you can come and write what school you were at, how you supported, and then we're going to do a big picture in the stands. So we get to use the stands, and we'll have everyone go up into the stands and to their school, and they'll be able to, we'll take a photo with all those people that supported Girls on the Run. So, and then there'll be a bunch of memorabilia and kind of a walk down memory lane. And it's funny to see the transition of the curriculum itself, the actual binder of what it looked like, and the photos and the language to what it is now. And then the different t-shirts, all kinds of funny things about what they started with, 25 years ago. So
I am so curious, how have you seen it evolved from those old binders that you've seen in the old curriculums? How's it different today?
Yeah, it really is about how kids have evolved as well. So definitely younger, less sophisticated language at the beginning, and now you can tell we really have honed in. There's evidence behind what we're saying. It really was about just getting them moving and incorporating some of those, little life skills into the lessons. And now it's very much about that social emotional learning and how important it is specifically to girls, and making sure that they see it and understand it and can take it with them. So it's definitely grown that way, and just the way it's grown in the Valley. So being one site at Rocky Mountain Fitness, I think is where it was, and they would meet in the parking lot, to being at public schools, and working with those different districts, where we are now. So we have 6 counties that we cover here in the Treasure Valley, and then we have 2 pilot programs, one in Moscow and then one in Grangeville. So yeah, just very expansive a little bit for us. So it's kind of a nice growth that we've seen. So
it sounds like it's grown in the same way that our community and everything else has grown. It's mental health, right? It started out physical. Now we're starting to see where physical activity and mental health are important. Because 25 years ago, that just wasn't. It was about moving. Just get up and move. And now it's oh, wait, we also have to take care of the minds as well. That all kind of goes together. So you guys are evolving as in the right direction, and I love seeing that.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's exciting, and we have all different types of girls that come, and not everyone loves it because it pushes your boundaries and, makes you uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And that's okay. As long as they take away something and feel better about themselves, that's what's important to us. So, yeah.
Do you have any specific stories you can think of or examples of just how you've seen this really impact the girls that participate and how they change throughout the program?
Yeah. I got to be a coach this past season, which was amazing. It was super fun to see what the coaches go through and what the girls are like. And my kids are grown, and so they're not like being in an elementary school was so fun. And they're just so different. And seeing that group grow from the first couple, sessions where it's really quiet and no one's going to talk. And then they're like, oh, now we're in this. I'm like, you guys were in the same class the whole time and you didn't talk to each other. They're like, no, we didn't really hang out before. So seeing them grow that way. And then just the excitement about completing the 5K and the we're doing what today? We have to do so many laps. And we're like, you can do however many you want, but just know at the end we get to do this. And they're like, okay. And they keep working and they encourage each other, which has been amazing. And then I do have a story from a girl here in the Treasure Valley. Her name is Bryn. She started Girls on the Run in 3rd grade and was bubbly and energetic and kind of just lit up at every practice. But after completing her first season and her 5K, she was diagnosed with leukemia. And following that diagnosis, she had hospital stays, had treatments, and heartbreaking changes in her life where, just loss of energy. Her best friend moved away within a couple months of her being diagnosed. So that was really hard. And that spark that once defined her just began to fade. But we were able to give her a scholarship, and she came back in that spring session. So, and she was able to run again, and that's when everything started to change, is what her mom says. Even on the days when she couldn't run, Bryn would show up. Her coaches would welcome her with open arms and give her a role as a helper, make sure she was always there and felt part of the team. And slowly her confidence began to return and her laughter came back. And then during one of the most difficult parts of her treatment, she actually surprised everyone and finished the 5K that spring. And she was surrounded by her teammates cheering her on. And her mom said it was the best celebration she'd ever witnessed. And now Bryn is in 4th grade and she did it this past spring with us, and she calls Goater her happy place. And despite losing all of her hair and facing daily challenges, she feels confident, accepted, and strong. The friendships that she's built with her team are deep and lasting, and the lessons that she's learned about perseverance, empathy, and never giving up are shaping her into a resilient, compassionate young leader, her mom says. So,
wow, Alison,
yeah,
that's
yeah. I know.
that's
That's
wow.
one of those. And her mom was a coach, and her grandpa was a coach last season.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I mean, that just is a perfect example of how it's so much more than running.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, just, purpose. And I mean, it kind of makes me feel like I want to get out there and do something, because I'm like, this little girl can do this with all that she's going through. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, Girls on the Run kind of saved her, but she kind of saved you guys too by just being like, oh my gosh, we're in this together.
And just enjoying it and having that place
what it's supposed to be. This is what it's about. Yeah. This is why you're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember, you're saying that it's hard to get people a little, that are a little bit older, and we would put those, going back to those shows or the movies that we put on, and sometimes we had great turnouts and sometimes we had a couple. Yeah. And we would always tell each other, that's 1 or 2 people that benefited, that we touched their lives of, and right there, it's worth it. And I feel kind of like the same thing. It's like, it makes it really worth it when you hear those stories.
Yeah. And I mean, this is one of many, and that's, it is just amazing to see all of the people. And when I'm sitting somewhere and I pull up my computer and it has Girls on the Run on the outside, they're like, oh, I did that when I was young. Like, it does create that memory for them. And that's just amazing to see. And they usually tell me about an experience, where it was, what they remember, so to be a part of an organization that leaves people with that is just so powerful. And, that's really why we want every girl to be able to do this. So it's pretty special. Go.
So where do you see Girls on the Run, the future? What do you hope for it?
Yeah.
Where to go from here?
I think hopefully in another 25 years, we're serving more girls and we're in every school and there's not a question about being at a school. And we are, our mission is still for that joyful, healthy, confident person. And hopefully we'll get to just continue to serve and develop and grow just like we're asking all these girls to. So, and we'll, whatever societal pressures are out there, that we can adjust and help them get through it just as much as we are right now. So I'm just hoping we'll still be here in another 25 years and get to celebrate.
I think you will. I have confidence that you will. I think that what you guys are doing is amazing. We've partnered up with you guys before and obviously want to do it again. I think it's just, there's so many great nonprofits out here in the community, and that's why we do this podcast, right, is to showcase, nonprofits like yourself, and just keep up the good work. I mean, you're making a huge impact.
Thank you. Yeah, and you guys are too, and it's great to be able to share and have people understand, how important those mental health tools are and how important it is to connect them with not only, your own self, but with connections with the community and peers, and to make sure we're all doing our part. So thank you.
We're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many supports out there. We just, have to find them.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So just to kind of just recap.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a nonprofit, so you depend on funding.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give out those scholarships without it. So we'll make sure that it's on our website.
Okay.
Why don't you give your website? What's your website address so people can go and find out more?
Yeah, so it's gotrtv.org. So Girls on the Run Treasure Valley is what that stands for. So, and we call ourselves GOTR. So so gotrtv.org is our website, and you can go there to give, to sign up to be a volunteer, to sign up for an event, for either the GOTR Mile or alumni a celebration, the kickball tournament. It's all there on our website.
Sounds fun. Kickball. Oh, I do have, backtracking kickball.
Yeah.
Do you put your own team together?
Yes.
So everybody signs up their own team?
Yep. So one person signs up, and then you find all your people. So, yeah.
And, it'll say like age groups and how to do all that.
Yep. It tells you everything. So it's between, I think you can have 8 to 12 people, but 4 have to be female. So it is co-ed, and everyone has to be 18 or older.
Okay.
And it gets pretty competitive out there. It's pretty funny. And if you're in a costume, be prepared to play in the costume.
So maybe not one of those blow up ones.
Yeah.
That might be a little bit hard.
Oh, I mean, it would be great for us to watch.
Yeah, I know, right? So they can get involved doing that way. And then obviously you have your 25th anniversary coming up is another, and then when they volunteer, it's also meaning the mentoring is also part of.
Yes.
You can sign up that way.
Yeah.
Online as well.
Yeah. Yep. They're all that coaching application. We call them coaches, but that's really what they're doing, is being mentors to these girls. Yeah. And we try to have 2 to 3 at every site. So that's a lot of people at 40 schools.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Volunteering, funding, and spreading the word. I don't think
right.
people understand how impactful just sharing stories on social media and telling your friends and everything. Spread the word.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if someone, who's listening is like, I was a Girls on the Run girl and I have a story, please email me, call me, and tell me, because we love to hear those and capture that.
Yeah. Maybe even for the anniversary, to have some of those for the anniversary.
Yeah.
Show up at the anniversary.
Yes, please. There's going to be cupcakes, I think. So,
Ooh.
Gotta have it's cake.
You had me at cupcakes.
You have to have a celebration. So,
Well, thank you so much, Alison. It was so nice to catch up with you and just hear more about the organization and all the amazing things that you guys are doing. And we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, and I'm excited to check out your other podcasts.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in today. If you like what you hear, make sure to follow us and check the 5 stars.
To join in on the conversation, go to children'shomeidaho.org and let us know topics you'd like to hear more about. That's children'shomeidaho.org.